I'll rip it down and I'll pick you up.
Since we don't have a chair and a vice chair, I'll open the meeting, call the meeting to order. Take a roll quick. Huber. Loest. Kettering.
Here.
Hummel.
Here.
O'Hara.
Here.
Welsh.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
I know he's on there. We probably have to have him call in because we're having trouble with that mic. So,
I can hear you.
Dan, you can hear us, but we can't hear you. So, do you mind calling in on my cell phone?
What's your number?
605
With all the technology in the world,
60.
we have a hell of a job making this work here.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
One more time, Bill.
They track a mosquito on the ass of an elephant.
605
10,000 miles away, but they can't.
06.
I can't hear you with Don talking.
605 660 0618. He's not happy with this. Not gonna happen.
Maybe you put the phone right there because you could use that.
Oh,
Okay.
The other one I think is doing online too. Hey, Dan. We hear you now. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is reorganize the commission. So we need to take nominations for chair, then vice chair.
I nominate Sherry Loest for chair.
Dan seconds. Any other nominations?
I'll nominate, you nominated?
Yeah.
Okay.
You nominated Sam?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have nomination and second for Loest and for Sam. So let's go down the line and vote for who you want.
Starts with you.
Sam.
Okay,
Hummel, Sam.
Loest, Welsh.
I'm on.
Sam.
Sherry?
I don't think there's sense in voting. It's already got four votes, so
Okay.
I'm just not gonna vote.
Okay. So then Sam is the chair. Sam, I'll let you take over for vice chair nominations.
Nominate Mike.
I second Mike.
So it was Don, and was that Sam or Tim?
I second.
Sam? Any other nominations? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sam, you are in charge.
Thanks, everyone. So, pull up the agenda. We did our roll call. We need to make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second, Sherry.
Minutes are approved. Do it.
Go ahead and do a roll call.
I'll do a roll call then.
Okay. Huber,
Aye.
Loest,
Aye.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yep.
O'Hara,
Aye.
Welsh,
Aye.
Clark.
Yes. Okay. Do you have anything added to the agenda?
We do not.
Okay. We need to make a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Loest.
Second. Kettering.
Another roll call, or can we just say all in favor?
You can say all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're gonna do conflict of interest declarations. Start with Loest.
Loest, none.
Huber, none.
Kettering, none.
Welsh, none.
Hummel, none.
O'Hara, none.
Okay. It is 7:05 on the dot, so we can actually start with the conditional use permit.
Get up there. All right, so typically, you want me to read it?
You know what, can you read it so I get a little practice?
Okay. Applicant, this is Michael's Stone and Road, conditional use permit application. Applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for a temporary construction facility in an ag district. Applicant wishes to construct a concrete batch plant to supply the South Dakota DOT US Highway 81 construction project. Per Article 5, Section 507, Article 18, Section 1805, and Article 19, Section 1905. Said property is located at, this is a really long one, so hang on. South half of the northwest quarter and the west half of the southwest quarter, excluding the south 858 feet of the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter, excluding 3A west of the highway and excluding Lot 2 of Government Lot 1 in the northeast quarter, or northwest quarter, excuse me, and Government Lot 2 in the southwest quarter, and excluding Track 1 Jones Addition in the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter, and excluding part of Lots 1 and 2 of Hackberry Addition in the south half, all in Section 6, Township 94, Range 55, west of the 5th PM, Yankton County, South Dakota. The E911 address is 30344 US Highway 81, Yankton. That's why you wanted me to read it, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll take care of Central Specialties for sure, but.
So, and this is listed as a conditional use permit in ag. They're basically going to be on this parcel right here. There's an entrance right on 81. So there's no travel for them. And we do have the applicants here if you'd like to hear from them. Or if you have any questions.
Where's this, the cell towers to the north of there?
Quite a bit north.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so that's past the 46 junction. It's the same one you're talking. Oh, no.
No,
There's another
no,
one.
there's one that sits there.
Yeah, I still think that's north. but-
That's what yeah, it's not too far north, but I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
It's not on this land, so.
I'm a newbie, so I wonder if is the land required to be returned back to somewhat original condition when they're done?
I think that's something they negotiate with the owner. when they do
Okay,
theirs.
that's not anything that we're involved, okay.
The way I understand it, it's already a construction laid.
It is.
Now they're just asking to build and operate a batch plant.
Correct.
All of the erosion control, BMPs, environmental constraints would be already part of this agreement, I would think.
Especially if something of this magnitude.
Yep.
Thanks, Dan. You have any questions? Like I said, if they're here, otherwise.
Anything from any of the planning commissioners, or do we want to open up to see if there's public input here tonight?
You do public comment.
Yeah, is there any public comment? Seeing none.
Oh, wait, we need to walk through
Yeah, you see,
our requirements here,
Findings of facts, yep.
and it's section 507. And I'm assuming we are either using construction services
There's a temporary.
or there's a temporary.
Yeah, that's.
Temporary construction facilities, item 41,
Yeah.
page 51 in my copy of it.
Right. And if you read the definition of that, this specifically talks about that.
Yeah. But we do need to,
That's this for you, Sam.
oh,
I've got it. Thanks. Sorry, Josh.
we do need to just walk through the ingress and egress, et cetera, et cetera. That's in our packet. It's item 5 on the findings of fact. Sam, did you want to walk through those or would you like me to walk through those?
You can walk around. I'm still getting there. He had me a whole bunch of paperwork.
Okay,
I thought you wanted to look at it at real size instead of on your phone.
No, that's fine. I usually use my phone, but it's cool. All right.
from this, and this is the concrete one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So ingress and egress to proposed structures thereon with particular reference to automotive, pedestrian safety, convenience, traffic flow and control, access in case of fire or catastrophe. Since 81 is essentially torn up,
Disaster.
anybody see issues with ingress or egress? That, I mean, they're gonna have pilot cars through the facility with additional trucks. I mean, that's what it's all about, so.
I drove out there today and it's right on the highway. There's
Yeah.
basically just a driveway between their facility and Highway 81. So there's really no issue there that I can
it right
see.
here. It was there for ag and everything they did last summer too, so.
Yeah,
So 5B, off right-of-way parking loading areas where required with particular attention to items in above, items in A above, and economic noise, glare, odor effects of the conditional use on adjoining properties or properties generally in the district. Again, the whole road's under construction. It's not a highly dense populated area. It's essentially farmland. There are a
Mhm.
few houses in the area, but they're gonna be happy when the road's done. I'll
Yes,
tell
they
you
are.
that.
Yeah.
Mike was a brave man just driving out there.
you're not kidding.
5C, refuse and service areas with particular reference to the items in A and B above. Because I don't see any concerns there. Anyone see concerns? Utilities with reference to locations, availability and compatibility. I would think any utilities they need, the electricity, I would assume is already there for the grain bins to run,
Mhm.
et cetera. E, screening and buffering with reference to type, dimensions and character. Since it's temporary, long-term, there's no reason, for example, for trees or things like that. I mean, it's temporary, it's going to be gone. And signs, if any, and proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic safety, economic effect. Don't foresee the plant running at night because there probably won't be much construction at night. So lighting will be temporary.
I'm assuming the plant has lights on it. Yeah.
Are you guys gonna run 24-hour operation or just peak hours? Okay.
So. And next, required yards and other open spaces, and then final would be general compatibility with adjacent properties and other property in the district. And that the granting of the conditional use will not adversely affect the public interest. It is for the public's interest
Yeah.
that the road gets finished.
Correct.
Yeah, so, and we already asked for public comment.
Yes. Check this off.
So that being said, do we have a motion from the commission?
I move approval, Welch.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Huber,
In favor? Aye.
Loest,
Aye.
Kettering,
Aye.
Hummel,
Aye.
O'Hara,
Aye.
Welsh,
Aye.
Clark.
Yes.
When did they start pouring?
That's the plan right
Yeah.
Weather cooperate.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
We gotta get through the county commission too.
Yeah.
Then they can go. All right.
Okay,
Oh,
You're good.
Get a hold of me tomorrow. I'll tell you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Yep, okay.
it's past 7:10, so we can start Central Specialties Incorporated, conditional use permit. Applicant requesting a conditional use permit for a temporary construction facility in Ag District. Applicant wishes to construct temporary portable crushing and HMA plant site for road construction per Article 5, Section 507, Article 18, Section 1805, Article 19, Section 1905. Said property is located at the southeast quarter, excluding Lot H1 and excluding Lot 6, Sun Valley subdivision in Section 2, Township 94 North, Range 56, west of the 5th PM, Yankton County, Yankton, South Dakota. E911 address is 30344 US Highway 81, Yankton, South Dakota. E911 address is 30371 439th Avenue, Yankton.
Luke? Yeah, can you guys hear me all right? I'm gonna have to call in on the chamber phone because our computer isn't doing what it's supposed to do. So can I give you a phone number, quick? Can you hear me, Luke?
Yeah, what's the phone number?
Okay. It's 605-260-4423.
Hey, Luke.
All right. Got him on speaker?
Yeah, he's on
Okay.
speaker.
All right, so this is essentially the same type of CUP, just for a little different temporary portable construction facility. This is for a crushing and HMA plant. The location is here. This is Highway 81. This is where the other plant is
Right.
going. Okay, that's it.
Yep.
Right here?
Yeah.
There. So you go just south a little bit, 304th. They're about a mile off of 81 in this gravel pit area.
So any discussion amongst the commissioners, or do we want to call for public comment first, or do we want to ask?
Luke,
Applicant.
this is Mike Welsh. I drove out to the site today, and it appears to me that, by the way, I read through your proposal document by your company. It's excellent, it's very thorough. As I recall, you state that there could be up to 20 trucks per hour in and out of the site, which sounds about right if you're doing asphalt. Is that what your plan is?
HMA.
Yes, during active operations, it would be up to 20 round trips per hour.
Right. And that road from Highway 81 over to 439th, it's about a mile of asphalt. It goes across an old bridge that crosses Beaver Creek. And then it goes north, about a quarter mile to your site. That's gravel and it crosses a culvert. Have you worked at all with the Yankton County Highway Department to ensure that that road is going to be adequate for your truck traffic?
District managers typically get the haul road agreement prior to the work being done. And those usually wait till the spring road conditions are good to go.
Okay. I guess my concern is that that road is okay, but it doesn't appear to be in tip-top condition. And my question would be, do you plan to put that road as well as the road leading to the site back into the same condition it is now? If the highway department, the Yankton Highway Department requires it.
Yeah, that's typically part of the haul road agreement, is that it needs to be in as good of or better shape, after our operations.
All right, that's my,
And you can add as a condition, you can approve it with the condition that they provide an approved road agreement with the.
I think we should do that, you know, and that'll protect the county from any potential damage and also any potential liability. That, you know, if the road is damaged and somebody gets hurt or something like that. So let's include that as a condition if we approve this application.
I grew up just west of there and drove that way to high school pretty much every day, so I agree on those two. That culvert, I've seen that one washed out pretty good a few times, so I agree with that, but anything else from the commission before we open to public comment?
So just to clarify, the gravel road is a Utica Township road, but I think the gravel pit takes care of it. Is that correct, John?
Yes.
So John Marquardt in the back is shaking his head up and down that they essentially take care of that. So really the focus is that paved road for the county.
Right. It's about a mile. And it might, you know, I don't go too far, but that bridge might need to be inspected. The bridge that crosses Beaver Creek on the.
It gets inspected every 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
I think it's unreduced. Well, we can either go through findings of facts real quick, or we can get our public comment.
We've got someone here that wants to speak.
Public comment?
Richard Bellick. I live on the corner right there where they turn to go into the gravel pit there.
Mhm.
My concern with it is, and I'm not trying to shut it down. I mean, they need to crush their stuff and whatnot. That's fine and dandy. For one, they come by my place and I want to talk to the gentleman. Jake brakes absolutely are annoying as hell. I know, I'm sorry for my language. I know I'm in the country, but I live on that corner and they hammer on their Jake brakes. And I absolutely, that's ridiculous for them to do that. I've talked to a lot of the guys that go in and out of there. They have backed off, you know, whatever, usually if I talk to them, but just like, what's the gentleman's name? Luke. I mean, I'd just like to know that, I mean, if you're gonna have 20 trucks coming in and out of there an hour, I mean, I've gone through it before, whatever. So that's the minor one. The major one is, and I should have been here years ago, they run the stop sign coming out of there. I drive truck myself. Put me at the top of that hill stopped, you're probably gonna have a transmission and drive shaft all over. But that is a stop sign. So, and even you can say, and Ralph has said before, we'll put flagman up there when there's heavy traffic and this and that. That's fine. Utica Oil does not have a stop sign. That has a stop sign. So if they want to use a flagman, that's fine. But they stop the trucks coming out of there. They'll just have to slow down at those culverts down there before they come up, and then the flagman can wave them up, you know, when it's time.
And your trees do block their eastern view. So if they're rolling up, your shelter belt does block their view from the east, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I guess you can get out there to where you can see.
Yeah.
I mean, so what they're doing, and I understand what they're doing, they're watching, if there's no flagman, they're watching to the east and they're watching to the west as they come out of there. And then they come, but it is a stop sign. So I'm just saying, I mean, it's dangerous. I have seen many a traffic, I mean, coming from the west that has had to stop, slow down, whatever, for trucks coming out of there. And the trucks take it for granted that they have the right of way. They don't have the right of way. And it's dangerous for everybody. Like I say, it's super dangerous. There's no reason for it. When I come out of my driveway, and it happened last year or 2 years ago, I had one of the trains come pulling up out of there and boom, we're stopped right in the middle of the road. I called the sheriff and said I was staying there until he got there. I wasn't letting him through. It's not right that they can't see me. If they're looking to the east, I come out of my driveway. They can't see me if I'm gonna go to the west. This gentleman pulled right out in front of me and there we were. Standstill. I mean, there's vehicles backed up and whatnot. It's dangerous. Sherry, you live right there.
I do.
You
It's
guys come that way?
all the time, all day. When I pop the hill off 81, you're looking to see if a truck's coming.
Right.
And I've had to stop for them before,
Yes.
and coming the other way you do too. And
Yeah.
it is a huge concern.
So I mean, that's one of my big concerns. I mean, that's just dangerous. I have family that's quit coming that direction, during summer and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, it's better to avoid it, but there's a lot of people that don't know that, so here you come along and I saw the mail bus or mail truck come out of Utica one afternoon. They're 4:30 on the dot every day. Here come one of those trucks, and it was when they were doing the asphalt on Highway 50 down here on the Lake Road. And here come one of those asphalt trucks up out of there, didn't slow down, nothing. That truck had to stop for him to turn onto the highway. I mean, like I say, it's not, they don't have the stop sign. And I've heard it before, when there's heavy traffic, we'll have a flag man and this, that, it don't happen. It just don't happen. So that is my concern. I mean, I like I said, I'm not trying to stop the process here. I'm just trying to stop the danger of somebody's gonna get hurt. I cannot believe it hasn't happened yet. I mean, God forbid that it would, but
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't happen.
yeah, all these years that it's been going on and nothing, we gotten lucky that it has not happened yet, but so there's a big concern. I mean, so I just wanted to bring that to the attention and I mean, and like I say, the Jake breaks, I mean, it's just common courtesy if they would, so the gentleman, if he can talk to his guys and whatnot, not be doing that. So appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other public comment. Close public comment.
So the first in 5A is ingress and egress to proposed structures thereon with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control, and access in case of fire or catastrophe. So that's the first one on the list. How do we want to handle it? Because it is a big concern.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, I think a condition can be added to the effect that the contractor will ensure that truck drivers observe the stop sign and that they use normal braking procedures, not Jake brakes. Is that how we want to word it?
Well, so. I mean, something they can consider is early notification, right? Mile away, start putting signs up to say,
Yeah.
heavy truck traffic or construction zone or
Good point.
things like that. Obviously, we still want some sort of road use agreement involved, right?
Mhm.
And then from there, I guess we have to figure out what leverage we have. I mean, hey, kindly tell your truck drivers not to use Jake brake that's on their truck for additional braking power. That might put us in a weird predicament because who's going to enforce it? And the poor homeowner is going to be driving himself up the wall like, well, they should know. But that's not really an enforceable sentence. So I'd say I'd hate to put that as a condition. Because there's nothing we can leverage off of that sentence. But I do think, like I said, road use agreement, I do think in keeping in mind, like you said, following enforcement of signs that are applicable, such as stop signs, and early notification of active work zone, construction zone, whatever the signage needs to say, that's on them. That at least helps the cross traffic be aware that they're going into a high traffic area.
So I'm gonna ask Mr. Bellick, since 81 is awful, I don't take 81 anymore. I take gravel all the way to Yankton. Okay, so by your house, since 81 is in that condition, what is the traffic level in front of your home compared to before?
Way down, honestly, because if you don't have a lot of people in the area.
Correct. So I mean, when they are heavy hauling and you're doing 20 trucks an hour, that's a truck every 3 minutes. Would it be advisable to essentially close the road to through traffic? And you close it, you know, you put a sign in Utica said, you know, the mile approaching 81 is closed to through traffic. And then you put, you know, alerts, you know, mile before it. During those times, then we have no traffic. You're gonna be there because you live there, but you're the only homeowner there other than the other gravel pit. And the other gravel pit is down where there's much better vision to get on and off. I mean, that is a consideration and we can certainly maybe give some advice on how to minimize that.
They've had truck crossing signs up there for 10 years now. So when you leave a sign for so long.
Correct, nobody pays attention to it.
The truck crossing signs have been up for literally 10 years or better.
Yeah,
And so you leave them there for so long, like I say,
yeah,
nobody even looks at it.
And a temporary sign is new, like you said, right? I'm driving along, they put a temporary sign I haven't seen before. I said, I have to take that to get to my parents if that's how I want to go, so a temporary sign will catch my eye a lot more than the little yellow one that's been up there for 10 years or whatever, right? But that could be an assessment, right? Like,
you know, but I think our highway superintendent would certainly be the gentleman who has the most knowledge and maybe approach to how to implement it. And maybe it becomes part of the road haul agreement.
Exactly.
That this is, and we can make some recommendations and stuff, but the county commission is gonna do what they wanna do. So,
What you're referring to is similar to what they do with the Knife River gravel pit we had a year or two years ago, where Mike was involved in the discussion about signs, speed limit, things like that. Maybe you want to change the speed limit along there. So that, again, that could be part of the condition that, you know, they have to discuss with Mike, or Mike has to come to the meeting and the next meeting, the county commission meeting, and figure out what the best solution is.
Right.
But you're right, he's the one that's gonna.
Or maybe something the county could just update the stop sign coming out of the gravel pit where all the traffic's coming out of, and say job site requires a full stop with a stop sign below it or something.
Yeah, that was my recommendation. What I was thinking about is the county road, right, that's highway department. Minimum, I think we should require that the user provide a semi-permanent sign right under that stop sign that says something like, all trucks shall stop. And that would not be a painted piece of plywood, but more of a professional type looking sign that alerts the truck driver, hey.
You're cutting out there, Dan. You still there? Hello?
I agree that could all be part of the. Go ahead.
We typically have truck hauling signs that we can put up, but I also have Shane Carlberg. He's on the Zoom meeting. He's our safety manager.
You there?
If you'd like, you could call in to the phone number and provide some more details.
Well, it sounds to me like, listening to Sherry and Mr. Bellick, that this has been a problem that's before construction. So obviously we should do something to enforce the stop.
We could talk to the sheriff and ask him if he would be able to have someone for an hour or so, sit out there and watch once construction's.
I've asked.
Well,
Okay.
I have asked before for their presence. And I get nothing out of it.
So John Markwart, County Commissioner. That particular location, there is a stop sign there. I don't see holding a truck coming out of that pit to stop at that stop sign. My recommendation would be, and I can talk to Mike, like you mentioned, possibly putting some blinking lights to the east and the west. Put a speed limit, a slower down zone. So, hey, be caution for them coming out. I do think a flag person should be set at there also to say, okay, there's no traffic coming. Come on, guy, get out of here. Cause the truck can't stop at that stop sign and take off without tearing out clutches or whatever. I do see that as that area as a problem when there's that many trucks coming out of there. So we can figure out at the county commission level, we'll figure something out there as far as blinking lights, 200 yards each direction from that crossing or whatever to make it safer. And I'm sure Luke at Central Specialized will work with us also.
Yeah.
And putting some of those kind of conditions in the CUP will make sense.
Right, and, Mike's the guy to work out the details.
Yeah, yep, exactly. But
Right, but it should,
Mike and I will discuss a few ideas and thought processes there. And
we
we can
should
work
just-
with the road haul agreement with
we should just
CSI.
include a condition that there will be a road haul agreement.
Sure.
Agreeable to the county commission.
Perfect. Okay, thanks.
I agree, just enforcement is a different mechanism for the county to try and do, so although it'd be nice to say, yeah, let's have the sheriffs out there and whatnot, I think enforcement's a lot harder than prevention, so
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to look for. So. One more thing, okay? Okay, yep.
You want 20 trucks coming out of there this year. It's not. The year they did the asphalt for 50,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there had to be, double that coming in and out of there an hour at least. I mean, they were running circuits, and the dust control is absolutely ridiculous. I can't put a vehicle outside. Can't open a window. Wife can't hang clothes out on mine. She likes to hang her clothes out, whatever. And it's just constant dust. And so who's gonna provide the dust control?
Luke, you have a pretty extensive description of your dust control plan in your conditional use permit application. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. It requires us to water down the plant site every 6 hours for dust control. And then we'll obviously have a water truck available that can spray water down on any gravel haul roads to keep dust down as necessary. And that's fairly common that gets added in as a condition as well, but we have the equipment to address it.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Velick, in their application, it says dust is controlled by water trucks applying water spray to the site as necessary. In the event that a haul roads are unpaved, they shall also have water spray applied as needed to control visible dust emissions. In exceptionally dry conditions, calcium or magnesium chloride may be added to the water to provide further dust control than water alone.
That'd be great.
So that is in their
That'd be great.
application.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in addition to, you talked about noise control, they just talked about obviously position equipment away from your sensitive areas, maintain equipment machinery to reduce excessive noise, obviously limiting higher noise activities to daytime hours, which per the permit, that's when they're gonna be hauling or prioritizing, so. Like I said, I think they want to be a good neighbor with you based on how thorough this CRP is. We've moved on a lot less before.
It is, if you go on the county's.
Yep.
the county's website?
Yeah, like I said, typically that's a pretty good one they put together, so a very,
Very thorough.
thorough and wholehearted, so I think they want to be good neighbors for you too. I think as we've all discussed, I think the big thing is just the road haul agreement and just working to prepare something that's agreeable to our county commission.
Right.
But so we were at what, 5A, Sherry?
Yeah, that was just the first one.
So,
So the next one is off right-of-way parking and loading areas where required, with particular attention to item A above and the noise, the glare, the odor effects, of adjoining properties, et cetera. And I think we just touched on a lot of that. And then it's refuse and service areas, utilities, screening and buffering, signs, if any, required yards and open areas and general compatibility. The one thing is, this is already a construction site.
Right.
It is a gravel pit. There's always something going on there during the summer. So a lot of those things are kind of contained in that current site. It's not a greenfield site. So, and much of it, and it is a very nice application. I have to hand it to them. They did a nice job on that. So any other comments on this? So I would make a motion.
I got a comment.
Yep, go ahead, Don.
In my understanding, if I'm understanding this right, we're saying trucks coming out of there don't have to stop, although there is a stop sign. That's what we said here at this meeting. Is that
Well,
right?
that's what was
No.
recommended.
no, we said that they need to work with our county highway supervisor and come up with an agreeable road and signage agreement, traffic safety agreement that they can permit to the county.
I see what Don's getting at though, because there's a stop sign, but the recommendation is they can't stop because of the slope. And so,
There's grade there.
Yeah, so,
I concur with Don. I'm questioning that.
so hence my suggestion of when you're operating, you close the road. If you're gonna be running the stop sign, you close the road, because I have had it where there's a radio man and he's sitting in his car.
Yeah.
And I come up over the hill from the west and he doesn't see me because he's on his phone. And the truck just right in front of me and I slammed on my brakes. And there was a radio guy sitting in his little truck and the dude didn't stop at stop sign. So if we're going to have them rolling through a stop sign, I think the road should be closed,
If,
like literally closed to through traffic.
I think that's where we need to find we at the planning commission level do not have the power to like pull stop signs and work through that.
Right.
I think they need to make a recommendation to the county commission to say, hey, we actually did some reevaluation during our peak hours. We want to close from this point to this point. This is who's affected by that closure, directly affected. Or whatever their sentence is. They may decide for flashing lights. They may do they may go out there and take traffic. They should know counts on that road, right, John? So they know counts on the road. So we should be able to look and see what it warrants, using normal highway safety
But
standards.
see, you're still addressing just this use of this pit for this reason. If it's an issue that it's a dangerous place and we've okayed it, that trucks don't have to stop, I think we're in serious liability.
Only if the road, I mean, if you close the road, you can do that. If you don't close the road, it's pretty tough to say, yeah, go ahead and roll through the stop sign.
Yeah, and their application says that they'll be operating from 0500 in the morning until 2000 hours at night. And with 20 trucks per hour. And good catch, Don, because you're exactly right. And so I think the proper thing to do is just close that road and bite the bullet rather than trying to find some way around it where they don't actually have to stop at that stop sign.
So, I mean, it's our job to evaluate it and make our recommendation. If the county commission chooses to disregard the recommendation, that is their choice.
Right.
I agree.
So it is up to us
So we
to
could,
give our opinions.
So
we could always say the condition is that they make an agreeable road agreement, taking into account traffic safety and the stop sign usage by haul trucks on 439th and 304th intersection. Specifically call out that they need to, at least in that plan, talk about what they're doing with that stop signal at 439th and 304th.
I think your motion should say that Mike gets the final. Well, he's the one
Yeah.
that's gonna have to decide what's
Yeah.
best for the county, right? So,
I agree. I mean, if he comes in, he says no.
Yeah.
Well, but I think Mike can give a recommendation. The county commission
right, yeah,
is on the hook for this.
right.
That's
That's
why
what,
they're elected.
yep, that's what I meant, but don't leave it up to the
Yeah,
contractor.
that's
Mike's
what I
gotta-
meant, sorry.
gotta be part of it, yeah.
yeah, but I think we can state that we have concerns about the stop sign on 437th and 439th and 304. Specifically state that needs to be addressed by the road permit or whatever, road use permit. Yeah, and I think it covers us. I don't think we're gonna publicly say our stop signs don't matter in the county, so I don't think that wants to happen.
So, I know we're talking about what they're coming in here to do with 20 trucks per hour. What are you gonna do about the side haulers coming out there during the off season and stuff? That I have pictures of just the other day, running that stop sign and going, and I don't know, what is there, I don't know if there's a designated route for these trucks, but they're running straight south down that gravel road. So next thing you know, we're gonna have a busted up gravel road because of trucks running out of there, but I'm just gonna go to the stop sign on this, the gravel road is what it is. But I got trucks coming out of there running that stop sign right now, and they haven't even started.
Mhm.
So are you gonna close the road when Cliff Matson comes to the gravel pit?
That's the point I was making. We can't do it that way.
So my thing is Ralph has made the comment before about building a road to flatten it out. So that when those trucks come out of there, he can go to the west, he can cross the culvert, go to the west, build a flat road so that they can see both directions. I don't know why we have to make such a big deal about, or the county and the commission having to worry about it. It's his gravel pit, it's the people coming out of there, so why can't he build that road, a road to divert the trucks and come out on a platter for the grading there?
Well, I think, sure, you address that.
Bill, can you pull the map down to the
Where-
north?
What road?
Or
Where are you talking, building a
If you build
road?
the road itself,
going.
coming out of there, that comes off of that road, that goes between, it'll make a big loop.
It's
the gravel there,
the pointer.
Back on the highway.
I know, I'm just saying that this 439th only services the gravel pit property.
Right. He doesn't go any.
Doesn't go, it only services the gravel pit property. So when we're talking about that road, yes, it may be a county road, right, as a road, our number,
Township
a
road.
township road, sorry, everybody. But it services one property
Serves my property too.
on your back, you back side of it, I guess, technically, yeah.
And that serves Dan's spot.
So I guess off to the east side of the road, it services, okay,
Dan to the northeast.
yep.
Where's the flat road you're talking about? I'm not visualizing.
He would have to build.
He would build it.
Where?
You would have to put after he crosses the culverts,
Okay,
then you go back out into his field and bring it back. It'd be a lot of dirt work and
and then,
it'd get you away from the stop sign.
and tie in further west?
Yeah,
Well, he can build a road on his property if he wants to.
what's that?
He can build a road on
We
his
talked about it.
property and then they just have a new approval for a approach.
And there is an approach to the west there too, but whatever. I'm just saying, he's talking about it.
I mean, that's up to
So,
Mr.
Up to the
Martin.
landowner.
so I live off of West City Limits Road, coming into 314. I'll guarantee you that 8 out of 10 cars never stop at the stop sign when they pull onto 314. This is a situation that happens. It's also law enforcement.
I think we need to just figure out the steps for the conditional use permit. If we feel that the gravel pit warrants additional traffic control or whatever for its normal business, what would be the avenue for that? Somebody who knows the county processes better than I do.
Say that again, please. I'm sorry, I couldn't quite follow.
Okay, so today we're talking about truly does this conditional use permit fit our mold? Findings of fact is it does. There's a few of us who say we think it does. As soon as we have our highway supervisor take a peek at it and comes up with something that's agreeable. Again, a highway supervisor is not going to push that liability on the county of saying, yeah, our stop signs don't matter, so that when I'm driving my Jeep, I don't want to push my clutch in or whatever. I can just keep going, right? I get it. Future state though, let's say we are deemed that the operations at this pit, and that stop sign during their normal business function, isn't working, it's causing a traffic issue. What does that process look like at the county level? Does it go through a complaint process? Like we need to file it?
First thing I'd like to do is go back and I'm guessing there's a CUP for that original gravel pit. See if there's anything in that that addresses any of that stuff.
Okay.
After that, if this is approved and there's a problem, then he can file a nuisance complaint. And then the director take a look at it, and then we'd have to meet with them. But if there's no condition on this conditional use permit, we can't go back and then apply anything to this. So, you know, if you were to say we want approved road agreement with Central Specialties, and then Mike and the commission can come to an agreement on how to handle that stop sign issue. I think those would be the best conditions. If they can't come to a solution, then they're gonna stop.
Yeah.
I think Sherry's probably got the best decision is just close the road. I mean, would that be okay with you if you could still, not the best idea?
He would,
I think that's the best idea.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, it's the highway. I mean, to shut it for everybody for just a project. I mean, granted, it's a big project. I understand that. I'm just saying, there's people that gotta go that way, you know, whatever. I mean, I think it would be a pain, but I guess that's up to you guys. I mean, it's just dangerous. It's terribly dangerous. Even if you close for it, the guy doesn't follow it or whatever, I mean, and something happens.
close road, reduce speed, proper signage, reduce, increases awareness. Again, I really do hear the during the normal business day argument as well, though, that awareness will not be there. Maybe it has not been taken into account, or maybe it was taken into account during the CUP process, and maybe we need to reevaluate that. I think though, for the existing CUP, we need to look at it on the merit of what they put to us. And I think as long as them and Mike are able to come up with an agreement that's taking in mind traffic safety and longevity of our roads, like again, that repair piece and maintenance piece, I think for the purpose of this specific CUP, I don't see anything that is giving me the heartburn. Again, I do understand driving that road to high school all the time, right? I do understand that during the normal day, they're not stopping, and there's been countless times on my motorcycle where I come down that way and I'm going the speed limit or above, and someone pulls out in front of me, right? Like, I understand all that. So I think that's a different motion, though. I think that we need to make sure they're separate.
He has defined a way to get this forward, because it's got to happen so they can finish the road construction.
Yeah.
So if I were to contact Mike tomorrow and sit down sometime and explain all the concerns, and then he can get a hold of Luke, and then maybe talk to John, and they can come up with something that they think is the best scenario, and then the county commission can decide if they want to approve that or not, in addition to your road use agreement.
Yeah.
Or as part of the road use agreement.
I would say as part of.
Yeah.
As part of road use agreement
Yeah.
specifically.
That way we have one condition we're putting on it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is that a conflict of interest I have, John? Dealing with that, and you want somebody else up there? I mean, this is a family thing for John.
Well, there's 4 other commissioners.
Yeah.
Decision by myself.
Yeah.
That,
I think I have a plan in my mind right now that we'll deal with this. Because it's not only for this project, moving forward, this is something we have to deal with moving forward.
Right.
Probably should have been dealt with 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But
At the time of the conditional use permit 20 years ago, I'm sure 439th was adequate for what the plan was. And then as I say, yeah.
it should have been dealt with. Now we've got something that's been brought up. We'll figure out a way to deal with that particular issue.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna be me alone, it'll be the rest of us. The other 4 commissioners also. And Mike.
You okay with that, Don?
if you would like him to recuse himself, you can certainly show up at the meeting and ask him to recuse
I
himself.
know how it's going.
I just didn't want to say it's okay if they run that stop sign,
Exactly.
because
We can't say
it's our liability. We're in trouble.
Okay, so we need to, if we're going, I think we're going to approve this tonight. We need to make sure that the county commission understands there needs to be a road haul agreement that also covers the turning, covers the safety aspect of trucks turning onto 304th, presented to them at that county commission meeting. So what is that?
Next week.
First? No,
First
it's the
Tuesday.
first in May.
Yeah.
It's the first Tuesday in May.
It's the third.
May 2nd.
The 6th.
So you need to consider reducing speeds on 304th. And they need to consider that stopping at the stop sign unless that road is closed. I mean, none of us want to sit here and say, well, yeah, you can run it through as long as you got the radio guy. No, and the only way you can run that stop sign is if the road's closed through traffic. And if they can come up with something different and better, I would be very happy about that.
One last question. Don and Dan had mentioned a sign at the entrance. Do you want to include that too? The sign about
I'll stop.
must stop road construction or
There's
construction sites.
say bus stop.
So I think that's all part of the plan that Mike needs to be involved in, and then it needs to be approved by the county commissioners. Sitting as Board of Adjustment.
So that was Lois's first.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote.
Yep.
Huber,
Aye.
Loest,
Yes.
Kettering. Hummel,
Yes.
O'Hara,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Clark.
No.
Okay, passes 5-2. Thank you, Luke. Give me a call tomorrow so I can explain the next step.
It will do. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Okay, next up will be our public hearing on the proposed ordinance changes.
How are we gonna handle this? Are we gonna go through change by change or?
I guess I would say if anybody sees something that's doesn't align with what we agreed to at the last meeting, we can discuss it, but otherwise it's done. I think we've discussed, the changes. We do have to take public comment.
Did you explain the utility, why it's changing the utility? That affected
Well,
almost everyone.
right. I think it was so that there was some input by, because it was a permitted use everywhere. And they wanted to have a little bit of ability to put conditions on if they thought they were necessary. So it just gives the county a little more input into any new utility structures.
I think it also involves neighboring properties, right? Versus that was part of our concern was with permitted use. It didn't give them a chance to have as much
Yeah.
voice in the matter,
Yeah.
which is what we wanted. So, I mean, people who reviewed the change, you guys, I mean, we do have to take public comment. You want to take that first? Okay. We'll open for public comment on the proposed changes. Do we have any public comment on the proposed changes? Seeing none. Should have given me a microphone. Okay.
But if we all believe in Sherry's statement, which I think is absolutely right, there should be no comment.
So then we just need a recommendation to move it to the county commission for their review and vote.
Still moved, Welsh.
Second, Loest.
Roll call vote.
Huber,
Aye.
Loest.
Aye.
Kettering,
Aye.
Hummel,
Aye.
O'Hara, Welsh,
Aye.
Clark. We have one plat.
Wait.
An ETJ plat.
Mhm.
I'll read the legal. Plat of track 2 Yagas addition in the north half of the southeast quarter of section 35, township 94 north, range 56 west of the 5th PM, Yankton County, South Dakota, containing 665,600 square feet or 15.2 acres, more or less.
Is there a reason for this plat, and or what does he plan to do with it?
Well, I believe it's in ETJ,
It is.
so
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what he plans to do. Well, I know he plans to sell it to someone. I think he's sold his business too. I heard, but, when it's an ETJ plat, they control all the zoning and
Okay.
everything, so
That's
they
right.
don't tell us anything. Unfortunately. Right. That's
Right by the railroad track.
right there. So I think he just parceled off this piece by itself. Because it's all part of this. So he's just creating one small parcel out of it.
And what are we asked to do? I guess.
Well, since this is in the ETJ, we don't have any control over the zoning or anything. So it's more like a courtesy formality for us. If it was in the county, we would have to make sure it matched the zoning, minimum lot sizes and things like that.
Move approval of the plat, Loest.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Hubert,
Aye.
Loest,
Yes.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yep.
O'Hara,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
So we'll open public comment.
We supposed to talk about chickens?
Yeah, we got that slid in here, didn't we? I forgot about that. Yeah, Gary Vetter sent out a proposed.
That's right. So
I mean, it's not on the agenda, so we can't
we can't make a
do
decision.
anything.
Yeah.
Right. Just so you're aware though, So there was a gentleman that had a house for sale out by the lake. He's moderate density residential. The deal breaker was in moderate density residential, you're not allowed to have chickens. So he met with Gary and I think Dan Clemish. And so what they came up with was a proposal for moderate density and low density, a conditional use permit to allow 6 hen chickens. If they're caged, the cage is behind the house where it can't be seen from the road. They're not allowed to roam free or anything like that. No roosters, obviously, so the noise. And then that would still allow in low density residential, a hobby farm, which allows for more animal units.
So no visibility from the road, but how about the back lot? The person that lives behind him, on another street.
They'd be able to see it.
So, and I did ask Gary, in the city of Yankton, you can have chickens, right?
Yeah, I think you're 6 chickens and they have to be caged or kept in the
Right.
backyard or something.
So in the city of Yankton, you can have chickens.
And that was one of
But
the
if you move
gentlemen's.
out of the city limits on a half acre or an acre or
And so
5 acres,
where this gentleman is, I mean, it's pretty, there are no lots back and forth like Crestview Estates. That development has covenants, so they can address chickens out there if they'd like. I mean, their covenants say they can't, so that's between them and the landowners. The county's not part of it.
okay, so does our ordinance prohibit it right now?
It's not listed as a permitted or conditional
Right.
use. It's not
So
allowed.
it's not addressed.
And the only way it's enforced is if there's a complaint filed and on record.
Right.
Okay, but you can have dogs.
You can have dogs up to a certain limit, then it's considered a kennel. Then you need a conditional use permit or breeding.
Well, and you can't have a kennel in
No.
any of those.
In ag, you can, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Can I read the email?
Yeah.
You can, I can.
It says conditional use permit for R2 and R3. A person may possess up to 6 chicken hens, so long as the hens are confined in a manner not visible to the traveling public, the surrounding property owners. No roosters are allowed. In addition, when kept in the ordinary course of business, fowl may be temporarily kept at a public auction ring, veterinary clinics, and treatment facilities, locker plants, and hatcheries. Fowl may also be transported through the county. So,
It just means you can take them away from the cage to do something with them.
yeah, exactly. But so
Make fried chicken.
I think in R1, one of the things you can do is hobby farms, if I'm not.
Yeah, you can do a hobby farm. You're
And-
allowed up to 10 animal units or so
So
many.
it's already allowed in R1. It's just
Well-
not allowed in R2 and
Yeah.
R3.
Yeah.
Because of the lot sizes, I assume.
And we did have some concern about R3 when we did our proposed changes. Remember, we were,
Yeah.
this planning commission at that time, minus the 2 newbies, chose to not promote R3 any further.
Correct.
So by opening this up in existing R3, do we pose any issues or concerns?
So, and that's my, you always think, because the kennel, I mean, you gotta have 20 dogs before you're a kennel, and that's breeding and housing and things. So anybody in R3 could have 6 dogs in their backyard, barking their heads off. Perfectly legal. Correct? So I do struggle, and you get birds, and someone had commented, you get wild turkeys all over that doing all their little thing. And
She's getting ready for turkey.
I hear them every morning. So
I got a tag if you want to come out with me.
Well, we're gonna set the tree and have you.
I saw one with a big
Record
beard this
so.
morning.
Yeah.
So, but I mean,
That was his argument too, that there's turkeys walking through his yard.
you struggle. No, I can understand if you've got chickens and they're running over on everybody else's property. And then, yeah, that's a problem. But when the city of Yankton and their lots are much smaller than a half acre, does allow 6 chickens as long as they're confined.
I think you hit it though, because when we hear somebody complaining about chickens, it's usually that they're letting them run free.
Right.
In one neighborhood, it was people taking their dogs for a walk and the chickens are running free. So what do the dogs want to do?
Yeah,
Or they're going to the neighbor's yard.
yep.
So
I understand that, but do we need to make it a CUP? Can it be a permitted use as long as they're confined? I think that's the discussion we need to have. Does everybody have to come in and pay, what is it, $500?
Right.
$350 to get 6 chickens? I mean, that's a lot of dang eggs that you're getting off the chickens. I struggle with that. So I think we need to vet that out.
My daughter has chickens in the city.
Yeah. Yep.
well, I think you're gonna get more of this because, I follow a lot of homesteader type things and people want to have fresh eggs on their own, especially with the circus we've had at the grocery store. I mean, I've always thought, and I hated telling this guy this because it says if it's not listed as a permitted or conditional use, you can't do it.
Right.
But it just seems odd because he's got deer and turkey and mountain lions going through his yard. So what are 6 chickens gonna do?
So in, even in R1, it's not a permitted use.
Yeah, and I would ask you do that because
I would think you'd make it R1, 2, and 3 a permitted use.
So, but I mean, we're having a pretty in-depth discussion for something that's not on the agenda right now.
Yeah.
So we need to get this on the agenda for next
Yeah.
month and bring these ideas, then talk to people about
then-
that, how
because then-
best to do it.
Then we'll have to have a public hearing after that and then go to,
Right.
we're looking 3 months minimum from
Correct,
today.
correct. And it might be a tiered thing where you can have 6 chickens in R3 and you can have 12 in R2 and, R1 where you've got 5 acres.
Yeah.
If, do you,
Yeah, if you go by the animal units in R1, you can have hundreds of.
but of course you could be a 1 acre owner in R1.
I'm a 40.
Technically you could, because it
Yeah.
could be a non-conforming lot.
Still
So,
where you're at is, you're typically spread out more and,
correct.
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think we just need to bring it up and
Get it
So,
on the
Put
agenda.
that on the agenda next time and
Chickens on the agenda.
chickens.
I hesitate to bring it up, but as soon as you stop with chickens, what about
Cows.
rabbits?
Cows.
No, but see, rabbits don't make noise and that's the.
I know,
That's
but I
always the
mean-
thing.
Maybe it,
Yeah, so,
well,
I got rabbits.
yeah, but.
Yeah.
Running in your yard, eating your.
in your
plants.
garden, yeah.
didn't pay $24.99 at Baumgart's for the rabbits I have, so.
Wait, there's a push now to raise rabbit
you
meat
one.
too, so.
They
Send
eat
some
my
of mine up
plants.
your way.
Yeah, I think we just need to, because that was when this commission did talk about the proposed changes, right? That was one of our concerns of if we make R1 and 2 too close to each other or R1 and 3 compressed, and we have some rules that apply to one but not the other, and I mean, it was always my vocal of if you cut R1 in half, people are gonna get really confused really fast about, can I have a hobby farm or can I not? Because to some people, 2.5 acres is the size of New York City, right? Like, just to some people, they think it's huge, right?
It is if you're mowing it.
Yeah, if you're spraying weeds. But moral of the story is I think this will feed into a larger conversation that we
Right.
need to have. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's a good fit for us next month.
Oh, before you adjourn, I just wanted to make a couple statements. Are you ready?
I'm ready. My bowling team starts at 8:35. Oh, I opened and closed that.
Started, you were, Sherry said something about chickens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sherry.
So John Markworth County Commission again, Yankton County Commission again. And I just want to take this moment to publicly from Yankton County Commissioners to thank Chris Barkle and Lauren for their services on the Planning and Zoning Committee. And I would also like to welcome Tim and Nick to the Public Planning and Zoning Board. That's it.
Thank you, public
Thank you,
comment.
That was part of Part of my thunder. That's okay. What we're about here, in an economy that we're in the United States and the world, I guess, it's extremely important to have sound business development, economic development. And I'm, for you two guys, I'm on the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and so we look at things going on all over the state. And they compare South Dakota to other states. Now, they had in their annual report this year, they had some data, and I pulled two little sheets out. One was total electricity generation in South Dakota. 61.2% of our electricity is generated from renewables. And the next closest, they had compared 5 states: Idaho, Kentucky, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Don't know why they did that. Maybe it settles their point. But Idaho was the closest to us with 60. The rest were down around 5, 7, 10. And with the amount of electricity that's needed for electric cars and all the things, I think it's really important that we keep our mind open about electricity. The next item came up on a action that's taking place in Brookings, and Bell Brands has a large plant there, and they're putting up a huge plant in addition to that. But one of the things that they pointed out is South Dakota was second highest in the nation in 2023, returning $1.03 in profit for every dollar spent on payroll. When you bring in 400 people, I think they're bringing in for their new cheese plant that they're building, and that's a lot of money to the county. And we need to be open and look at economic development, value-added agriculture, and what's going on in our county. So that's my opinion.
What would, you know, I'm, maybe this isn't a fair question, but what would be the biggest holdback to that type of development, manufacturing development and so forth? Am I correct that we're underserved in terms of natural gas? Is that a fair statement?
I should, they had a deal on natural gas too in their report. I didn't bring it with me. I think we have less ability to get natural gas than many of the Middle Eastern United States.
Yeah, my understanding is that the natural gas goes up and down Interstate 29, but it does not come over. Does it come over to Vermillion?
Yes.
But it doesn't go past Vermillion to Yankton. Is that correct?
It comes to Yankton, that's basically the dead end. I mean, the capacity, it can't do anything.
All right.
There isn't enough.
But there's not enough, volume? And so either we need to increase the volume, and who would that be with? Mid-American?
Well,
Northwestern? All right, and so would it make sense, I'm using Don's guide here, would it make sense to put together potentially some sort of a task force to identify limitations such as natural gas? Because unless we have adequate natural gas resources, we're not going to be able to bring in more big manufacturing. Right. It's a chicken and egg type of situation.
we looked into pretty extensively, with Napa Junction and development up there. There was a couple different, businesses that we were very interested in coming in.
Right.
Would avoid a number of people. But the expense from just taking it from Yankton up there was gigantic. I think to get it here, was that $50-60 million?
Yes.
Would it make sense for Yankton County / Yankton City to put, start thinking about an industrial park on the east side of the city?
That would be difficult just because of the floodplain.
New FEMA map.
Shoot them about.
Yeah, but there's some space up there north of Highway 50, isn't there?
No, if you know where James Steel is,
Yeah,
from there to the Jim River Bridge, north of 50 is pretty much all in the floodway. And so you would have to have an engineer do a very extensive study to find out even if you could build something there. You're probably talking 6 figures for something that big. So that's why we don't really foresee any development directly east of Yankton for the time being. Unless they get rid of FEMA.
and that's what?
They get rid of FEMA.
Well, that'd be all right. All right. It's worth thinking about.
Yeah.
I believe that if we had a handful of people to fill these seats on a regular basis for a couple of months, we could come up with some recommendations that wouldn't be in a flood zone. And because until we think through this process, we're not going to solve the problem. Yankton is blessed by wonderful small manufacturing, and we have all sorts of excellent assets. I think we should probably take advantage of it and think it through rather than just talking about it.
A huge opportunity, I don't know if it's geographically would ever even be considered as AI. They're talking about gigantic,
Data centers.
All right.
and, but we have to develop an attitude within the 23,000 people in this county that economic development is important. It's not something terrible.
That's right. So this country has a major recession about once every 15 years or so, late 80s, 2008. And when there is a major recession, the federal government starts throwing money off the ship like gold bars. And what they want is they want shovel-ready jobs. They want it already laid out. They want the ideas in place. They want somebody to be able to say, all right, you want to spend some money? Here's a place you can spend some money and you can do it right away. It's already been designed and let's be ready for it. So the idea is let's get ahead of it. Let's not wait like we did with COVID and miss the boat. Let's get ahead of it, think through the process. Where would it be? How would we, who would we have to approach to see what's feasible and what isn't? So that when the next recession comes, and it will, we're number one on the list. We could do that. But you have to think through it ahead of time. What is it? Proper prior planning prevents poor performance.
Not to think that we don't need to do something. Everything is fine the way it is right now. We need to look ahead, because I can tell you this much, with the new bill that our governor put in place for property tax relief. So right now, cost of living increase is 2.5%. That's what our budget increase is gonna be for next year. So those are issues we don't find a new stream of revenue,
Mm-hmm.
something's gonna be left behind.
Right, and the key is to think through it ahead of time. And, you know, there's good development and bad development. I grew up in Sioux City, Iowa. There is a classic case of poor planning when they put the interstate highway across the south end of the hog headed north. That just wasn't a good idea. They didn't have to do it that way, but they did it. And the reason they did it that way was because they hadn't thought it through ahead of time. So what I'm suggesting is that we think it through now and be prepared when the next recession comes. I don't have any more to say on it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Just takes money and people to do it.
Too much money.
Yeah, we have some people coming every week, every month, I mean, so.
Get money.
I don't know about that, but they're here at least, so. Anyway.
We want both.
Need a motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
You can just say,
Say.
Oh, say aye.
all in favor, say aye, yeah. All right.
All opposed, same sign.
Thanks, Dan. Have a good night.
Anything at the end of the night?
Bill, my plat, you need to sign.
Okay. No big deal. New level of responsibility. Gonna have to be an adult, I guess.